Hi, everybody. Ron Placone here. So, a while ago on my radio show, we did some coverage on a movement called Women on 20s. What this was it was a campaign to get a woman from history on the $20 bill and replacing Andrew Jackson on it. There was a long campaign. You could vote for a lot of historical women, and anyone could vote. I myself did vote. My co-host voted, and we voted on the show. The finalists were Rosa Parks and Eleanor Roosevelt, and the winner. Okay, the winner of the campaign, Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman won the campaign, and now the movement is pushing her to be on the $20 bill. They have introduced a couple bills in the House, and the goal is that Harriet Tubman will be on the $20 bill by the year 2020, because that year will be the 100th anniversary of women getting the right to vote. So it's a historical moment in the history of women's rights and the history in the women's suffrage movement. So they're hoping by 2020, Harriet Tubman is on the $20 bill. Now, the White House has responded to this by saying that they think she's a wonderful choice. They think she'd be awesome on the $20 bill, but they have not gone as far, at least as of the recording, me recording right now, they have not gone to say whether or not the president himself supports this one way or the other. So they have not commented on that yet as of right now. Maybe Obama will say something soon. Maybe he won't. I don't know. But as of right now, nothing's been said in that regard. And here I say, yeah, definitely. This country, the United States, has a rich history that certainly goes far beyond old rich white men. And it's about time that our currency reflects that. It's long overdue, and I think Harriet Tubman will be great on the $20 bill. Now, some people are saying, well, what about Andrew Jackson? What did he do? Why should he be outed, though? That's not, that's not very nice to him. I think that Andrew Jackson should be the first person to go, and it's nothing against him. It's just based off of history. I think he's a perfectly good candidate to not be on currency anymore, not just because of the significance of the 20, right? There's a significance of the 20 as it relates to women's rights, as it relates to women's history. So that was a big reason why it was picked for the movement, and a big reason why that was the currency selected, the $20 bill. But also, Andrew Jackson had a problem with currency in the first place, so chances are he wouldn't even want to be on currency. That's something a lot of people have pointed out. That's something we talked about on the show some. Chances are dude wouldn't even want to be on currency in the first place. Also, if we're going to be somewhat historically accurate, Andrew Jackson would have been the first scapegoat anyway, because keep in mind, when he was in office, he was a president that had a lot of controversy surrounding him. This was a president that took a lot of slack. Andrew Jackson was the first president that was not from the Northeast. He took slack because of that. He was the first president that did not know a foreign language. At his inauguration, he had barbecue. Back in those days, barbecue was like a peasant food. That'd be like the equivalent of having Big Macs at your inauguration today or something like that. But that was what he knew. That was what he wanted. And then he took an awful lot of flack because of his marriage. But when he got married, a lot of that flack went on to Rachel Jackson. Because keep in mind, Rachel Jackson and Andrew Jackson's marriage was illegal. She was married prior to marrying Andrew Jackson. The first marriage was never properly annulled, hence an illegal marriage. Now, once again, by today's standards, that's not that big of a deal. Go to court, get that straightened out, whatever. But back in those days, whoa, she was like the Kardashian of her day as a result. In fact, when she died from heart failure, Andrew Jackson blamed her death on the press. They hounded her so much that they caused her to have heart failure. And she actually died right before his inauguration. So never actually got to be the first lady. So pretty sad story there in a lot of ways. But point being, if any historical figure would be outed first and would be kind of pushed out of the way first, it wouldn't be all that surprising for it to be Andrew Jackson. If I had to pick one as far as currency goes, that would be who I would probably pick first. I'd be like, yeah, Andrew Jackson. They're going to make him go. And again, there's a good chance he wouldn't even want to be on currency altogether. Meanwhile, Harriet Tubman, very rich figure in history, very important figure in regards to women's rights. And it is time. Why not? Women on 20s, it's a good thing. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any negatives. I don't know what else. I mean, what are the negatives? Women on 20s, good thing. Women in their 20s, a good thing. Currency reflecting the actual populace that lives in a place, that's a good thing. Currency representing diversity, that's a good thing. I think this is pretty cool. I hope people get behind it, and we will see what happens. To learn more, you can go to womenonTwenties.org. That kind of explains the movement and the campaign and the voting process, what it was like. You, of course, missed your opportunity to vote, but I believe the voting had been going on since about March, so there was plenty of time to kind of let your voice be heard. I casted a ballot. I don't remember who all I voted for. You could kind of rank. You didn't have to just vote for one, if I remember correctly. And again, I am going just by memory. And plus, I was on the air while I was doing it, so I was kind of distracted because I'm not just voting and thinking in my head, trying to go historical figures and pick one over the other, which isn't easy to do. But I was also looking at the levels and making sure that we were on the air and making sure that I wasn't peeking on the microphone. So, you know, I was a bit scattered when I was doing it. So forgive me if you voted and my recount isn't 110% accurate, but I'm pretty sure you listed a couple and you selected a few historical figures. It wasn't just one, and then you ranked them. And I don't remember exactly who I picked. I'm pretty sure Rosa Parks was definitely one of mine, but there were a lot to choose from, and a lot were very good historical figures. So I picked a few that were kind of some of the more obvious ones that I knew would do really well, and then I picked a couple that were like a little less obvious. I'm pretty sure Rachel Carson was one of mine. I picked her. I was like, you know, that's a little of a less obvious one. I'm going to put her in my rankings. But it was really cool. It was a really cool campaign. It was a really well done website, and they're really doing their homework on this. So I think this is definitely going to get a lot of attention. It already has. And congratulations to Harriet Tubman or the estate, whatever else is out there. That's really cool. And we'll see what happens. We might be seeing a woman on the $20 bill soon. This is Ron Placone signing out.